Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Oh, yeah, we got football tonight. The NFL season opener is here, and what an opener it is tonight. Oh, my God, with the Chiefs and the Ravens. We got college football to talk about as well. Big change at quarterback for your Florida Gators, hopefully one coming for the Florida State Seminoles as well. USF has a humongous game this weekend against Alabama, and every one of their fans is on Twitter predicting a win in Tuscaloosa. You got to love that. We'll preview all the NFL stuff coming up. And I say good morning to you, Nick Gators from On3 Sports. How are you?
I'm doing great. I wish I had some grand Todd Bowles entrance for you today, but I don't have one of those in me. I'm excited, JP. I'm excited that we have NFL football back tonight. I've been less excited about the college football season because of Florida State, but UCF is obviously making that up for me. But we'll get to that eventually. But NFL football is back tonight. The Bucs are back on Sunday. We're almost there. We're almost there.
Yes. A nice 4:30 game, overcast skies expected, which is nice for the fans, probably. And please, let's don't make so much out of, it's not going to be as hot and they're going to be wearing dark jerseys. We miss an opportunity. It's the NFL. They're ready to play. They can play a full game. It's going to come down to who's the better team, who's the better coach, who manages the game better, and if someone can tackle Jaden Daniels and tackle him hard. The quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard. I can't wait. It's a weekend of so many incredible storylines that we will get into across the NFL, across college football. So sit back, relax. We got a big show for you today. If you love local football talk, if you love college football talk, this is the show for you. Even Nick Geddes has to opine about the situation that Florida State is in now.
And I'm gonna bury your Knowles later. I'm gonna bury him.
Could you bury him any worse than I did?
I'm gonna bury him while you're wearing orange today.
My creamsicle,
which is so poetic.
Yes.
Oh well, when we get to the Florida State segment, the orange is gonna be poetic because I'm burying you.
How could you bury him more than I did on Tuesday? I don't think you could bury him any worse than I did. I rewatched the game yesterday just for X's and O's, and it was worse than I thought, and I thought it was horrible watching it. 270 yards rushing right up the gut and so many tactical, coachable errors. It was stunning. It's absolutely stunning that FSU can play that poorly and be that undisciplined and be that bad. A year after going 13-0. 13-0 is still 13-0. It is what it is. That was a phenomenal football team. But what's left is a carcass of such. So, but let's get into we've talked a lot about Florida State. Let's get right into the Bucs. You want to set the scene? You want to set the scene from what happened yesterday as Todd Bowles and this is just not something funny. There's a little bit of something to this that I want to explain after we soak it all in. Go ahead.
You're pretty stoic. Don't show a lot of your emotions. What's the season opener like for you when you walk out of that tunnel? It's exciting! You are now on video.
You're me now.
You always have the butterflies. You always have the butterflies when you go out there. It's opening day in the NFL. No different than when you were
Who's talking over him, for God's sake?
God, that was epic.
It goes NFL total.
It was sitting there.
It was kind of layout, right?
Wow. That is quintessential Todd Bowles coming out of his shell. We have talked about this for a lot of the offseason, and you saw some of it last year, but it has been so evident this year that Todd Bowles is so much more comfortable in his skin, to use that cliche. He's just becoming more the man that we've heard about behind the scenes is becoming the guy that we see out front. And I think that means something. I really do. I think because we've kind of waited for this. Obviously Todd Bowles took over this team in a really weird situation. And I think even in the back of his mind, he probably felt like, did I earn this? Did I earn this, or was this given to me? How did this happen? I don't mean that in a pejorative way whatsoever. But I think it's just natural. It was a very unnatural way to assume the head coaching position. I mean, we don't need to rehash everything that went down. And I think at that point, you're not choosing all of your coaches. You're not. It's just a weird deal. So I think right from the beginning, he was kind of put in an awkward position. And I think he has come in this year just being very much comfortable in what he's doing, how he's doing it, his relationship with the players, his confidence in his team. And I think it's going to make him coach more aggressively. I think it's going to make him coach more freely. And he's not going to be second-guessing himself. You always got the feeling that he was kind of second-guessing what he was doing. And I don't get that feeling anymore. So this may be a funny meme, and it may be forever a meme, but I think it means something. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, I think it means a little bit. I mean, first of all, this little bite here with the whole excited thing, this came after like 5 minutes into the press conference, and you want to talk about out of nowhere and out of place, because the first 5 minutes of this thing, it was like typical Todd, where he's like giving short answers, he's being his typical stoic self, like Kevin O'Donnell had pointed out there in the question. And then that just comes out of nowhere. And he has another funny bite later that we'll get to as well. So it was very loose. It seemed like in one buck yesterday, Baker was loose as well. And that's typically, I think, the vibe. I think you would agree with this. You've been there at camp, that it feels a lot more, like the vibes. We've been talking about the vibe check and everything has been very good so far at Buccaneer camp. And there's been moments where maybe that's wavered, like after the Jacksonville preseason game, we talked about it like, okay, cool vibes are done. Let's get back to business here.
Right.
But they do seem like a team that's really not pressing or anything like that going into this season. And Todd Bowles in particular, this is year 6. I mean, if you can believe it, this is year 6 since he's been with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he really has no reason to be sheltered at this point. And if you combine his experience in New York as a head coach, this is what, year 6 or year 7 for him.
Yep.
Wearing the headset and everything. So does this translate to more wins? I don't know about that necessarily. Todd Bowles still has things he needs to work on, such as the in-game, sort of clock management stuff. I think he took many strides in that last year, but I still think he has a ways to go in that department. So I'm more interested to see how that turns out from Todd Bowles. But yes, it is kind of, to use his phrase, exciting.
Yeah.
To see him kind of coming out of his shell a little bit to all of us.
Yeah, and I think that's those type of situations where I believe he'll be thinking more clearly. I think he's got probably more help on his coaching staff with Liam Cohen. I think he probably feels more at ease to let the reins go and not oversee maybe as much. I kind of felt like last year that he was kind of maybe meddling more in the offense because it was so conservative at times and running the ball up the middle. I don't think we're going to see. I think he's much more confident in letting Liam Cohen do his job. I think that helps him tremendously.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think these are the best position coaches the Bucs maybe have had.
Yeah, I would agree.
Even when Bruce was here, I think these position coaches are better than the ones Bruce had. I truly believe that. Because especially Kevin Carberry, the development he's had in the O-line, and Skip Pete in the running game, like I really love this coaching staff.
Yeah, I think it has a different feel to it, and it's going to come down to game day, obviously, and there's going to be situations like we saw last year where is he going to be using his timeouts aggressively in the first half because he has more confidence in his offense? I would think so. I would think players like Baker Mayfield are going to be reminding him to be aggressive. Like, hey, we want to get the ball back here, one more possession in the first half. Let's go get it. Let's use these timeouts and save one more possession, especially if we're getting the ball first in the second half. That's, as I've said many times, it's crucial. It's like getting a turnover. It's an extra possession. That's a huge, huge deal in the NFL and even college football now with possessions shrinking there. So let's see where it goes. But I think it bodes very, very well. What where do you want to go from here? You want to continue with the bowls because you have control of the sound here, so you set it up and throw it out.
Yeah, we'll start with the one of the areas that we think is going to be much improved this year, and that is the running back room. And he had
Can't wait to see this running game.
Can't wait to see this running game. I thought this was a very interesting answer when asked how the rotation will play out this year.
I think it'll be a game-by-game basis. You normally go with the hot hand, but since nobody has played yet, obviously Rashad starts, and then we'll kind of go from there and see how the other guys are used.
Thought it was a little interesting. Like, it wasn't like he said Rashad starts, and then we'll go from there. But, like, it wasn't like Rashad's not going to be a bell cow. It doesn't appear like in this offense, and I think part of that is because of what Bucky Irving has done since he's gotten to this team.
And Rashad talked yesterday and kind of said that he sees himself as a bell cow, which is fine. But I don't think there's a problem there. I don't think Rashad White is going to the coaching staff and going, I got to get 25 carries. I think Rashad White is smart enough to know that if he gets 17 carries and averages 4.5 yards a carry instead of 3.2, it's a hell of a lot better for the team. And that's what I expect. I expect him. And let's not just write off Sean Tucker, because we saw a lot of good stuff from him in the preseason, like stuff that we frankly hoped to see last year. That explosiveness. He's the fastest running back on this roster, and I think there's a place for him. I mean, we're all excited about Buck Irving. I think we've kind of written him off because of last year. Remember, he had that heart issue coming into preseason. So this is a totally different guy who put up a lot of yards in college and was considered, an explosive one-cut runner, which is something that plays very well in this offense. If you're moving people up front in that zone scheme, like we saw with Graham Barton and Tristan Wirfs and Cody Muck and Getty, the whole group, and you're in that cutback lane is available. He used that tremendously well in the preseason. I get it. It's preseason, but I'm interested to see that explosion as well from him.
Yeah.
I think they got three really good backs. And I think Rashad White is just scratching the surface of what he can do. Yeah. And I also think that was a nice little nudge by Bowles to Rashad White. If you're Rashad White and you hear that, what do you do? Ooh, you're like, what?
Remember last year, like, there were some times earlier in the year, like the offensive line was not great at run blocking. We found that out. And I think some of Canales' stuff was very vanilla.
And predictable.
And what's interesting, it's like if you actually watch some of the preseason game, I actually do see some of the same sort of runs that you saw from Dave Canales. I feel like Liam Cohen has picked on. The difference is they're just doing it better this year. For whatever reason, they're just doing it better.
You got a center who can move people.
Mauch's improved. And Bredesen, even for what he is, I mean, has been a big upgrade from what we've seen so far of a Matt Filer. So I guess if you just take those three parts, you see why they're just simply doing it better. But there were moments last year where we were talking about Rashad White, like, hey, there are some holes there. Now, they're not the biggest holes, but they're NFL holes, and sometimes you just got to hit them, and he wasn't doing that last year at times early in the season. Yeah. So Rashad White, I think, still has room for improvement. I mean, at the end of the day, he was part of an offense that ran 32nd in the league for the last 2 years.
Right.
So there's a lot of room for improvement, but I've seen a lot of people talk about this running back room that have covered this team for a while, saying this is as deep as it's ever been. People going back to the days when it was Warwick Dunn and Mike Allstott back there. And it's, they've had, like, Doug Martin, for example, was really good, but Doug never had that number 2 behind him that you could count on. And it's different this year for Rashad, but we think Bucky Irving and Sean Tucker could be that for him.
And for a team that I think is going to lean on it, as much as we talk about this offense, and I think this offense can be really good, the Bucs have been at their best when they lean on their defense. And I think this defense can be sneaky, sneaky good. If the corners hold up, and that's my biggest question mark, if the corners hold up, then I think it can be really, really good. Now, there's question marks. I mean, the pass rush is still a question mark. But you go back and look at we talked about this before, Kalijah Cansey's November, December, January was pretty damn eye-opening. He was the rookie defensive player of the month in November with 18 tackles, I believe 10 for loss and 3 sacks. And he dominated in the playoff games. He played extremely well. And that's a kind of a natural progression from his really, really late start. Mm-hmm. So now that he's gotten through training camp uninjured and is ready to go, Now, Diaby said yesterday he feels great and he feels 100%. He's ready to go. So that's good. So I'm anxious to see what this looks like. And it has to be, and again, I don't think you're going to see guys going, and they've got to be careful. The rush lanes have got to be careful because if Jaden Daniels gets outside in a blink of an eye, that dude can eat up 15, 20 yards. He is so quick and so fast. And when he hits the gas pedal, he's gone. And he's a tough follow. So, you don't necessarily want to be rushing this guy with your hair on fire. You got to come in controlled, keep him in the pocket, and make him beat you from the pocket. That is going to be absolutely critical.
Big day for KJ Britt too.
Yeah,
having to face a guy like Jaden Daniels. Sidebar: did you see Devin White? By the way, did you see the news on him?
Oh yeah, that the Eagles were trying to trade him.
They were trying to trade him because both their other linebackers apparently beat him out, and now he's got an injury. He didn't travel.
Yeah, an injury. You think that ankle injury has something to do with the fact he got beat out? Yeah.
So funny. I was watching ESPN and they were talking about impact additions across the NFC, and his name was mentioned. And there you go. But I digress.
And he's not going to play.
Yeah, I digress. But no, I think it is a big sort of challenge for KJ Britt because I think the jury is still out if he's a true 3-down linebacker. He just quite frankly has not done it a lot in this league. But again, in the sample size we saw last year, we brought the numbers up before. The difference when he was in there was huge for this defense.
So I think the run game. Yeah, we're talking about the defense. I think the run defense will be immeasurably better. Just the subtraction of Carlton Davis. The three guys that we've talked about: Ryan Neal, Carlton Davis, and Devin White. If you go, I haven't seen the ME list, but I would guess that those three guys were at the top of the mental error list, and it cost them multiple first downs and touchdowns last year. Just subtracting those guys and putting in guys that are pluses. I mean, Jordan Whitehead is just not a replacement. This dude is a really, really good safety who was a ball hawk. I mean, what an upgrade that is. That is a humongous upgrade. I would argue that Zion is an upgrade over Carlton Davis, who just, he just regressed after he got his new contract, whether from injuries or lack of motivation, whatever it was, he was in full regression. I think Jamel Dean needs to step up and catch the damn football 4 or 5 times this year. It'll make a huge difference. And so those are issues that, but I think they can be better as a secondary. And Tyke Smith, I'm excited to see what he's going to add in terms of impact plays because he's a playmaker. And, playmakers at every level. And that's what he was at Georgia. And that carries over. It just carries over. It's about instincts. It's about, feel for the game. And that carries over. So I expect him to make a difference. And I love the way Braswell came on late in preseason. I think that was, there's another guy that's used to making plays and making a difference in this league. So, but they're question marks. There's no question they're question marks. I said this earlier this week, Nick. I'm a little gun shy with this Bucs team because I'm not going to say I was super confident in the Seminoles. I was on here saying there's a ton of unknowns, and I'll take Georgia Tech in the 17, and I'll take BC in the 17, or at the 13, I think it was for Georgia Tech, and I won money on both those bets. I didn't think that the Noles should be superb favorites. Did I think they would be this horrible? No. So I'm kind of feeling gun shy with the Bucs. I'm really confident in what we've seen, but you never know until they put the hats on the other team.
Right.
And these are all kind of unknowns. And I hope we're not sitting here on Monday going, damn, this pass rush we thought was so much better could not contain Jaden Daniels. Damn, my running game I thought was going to be really good, but Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne just stuffed their ass and they couldn't get anything going. I was surprised that Baker made those mistakes. I hope to God we're not talking about this on Monday, but folks, it's the NFL and these things happen. And you'll see upsets all across the board. We'll get to all the games in the NFL. And trust me, the Cleveland's going to absolutely knock Dallas's dick in the dirt. I think they're going to beat the hell out of the Cowboys. I think there's going to be surprises all over the league. I just hope the Bucs aren't one of them.
Yeah, and the Bucs really are not one of those premier games. I think that people are even. It's weird because Jaden Daniels is number 2 pick, I don't think many people are paying attention much to this.
No.
To this game,
Caleb Williams
even though
has all the press.
Yeah, even though this game's being played at 4:25 and it's in that sort of premier window, it's still like the second, third, or fourth game, whatever you want to pick in that window.
Yeah.
So they're not going to have many eyes on them. And in terms of the matchups, like because you mentioned like the secondary a little bit, I think this is a good matchup for the Bucs secondary because obviously we know the challenge that Terry McLaurin provides, and
he's really
if you
good.
if you just go ahead and assume that Jamel Dean is going to be on him. I mean, the Commanders, the fall off from Terry McLaurin it goes to Alameda Zaccheaus, the former Falcon receiver, if you recall, De'Ami Brown, Noah Brown, who, by the way, Noah Brown torched this defense last year when he was in Houston.
That's true.
So he's got some familiarity. We saw Zaccheaus have some moments against this defense when he was in Atlanta at times. But at the end of the day, this is a big game for Zion McCollum because if he's getting burned by any of those three names, then even though it's going to be week one, you're still going to be walking out with that big question mark. And the same thing for Tyke Smith. And I know Bowles said that it's not set in stone that Tyke's going to start based on the packages. We'll see how that works out. We know they're going to move things around. But that is one of my big matchups I'm looking for. And, of course, like you said, the Bucs run game versus Washington's D-line. Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne are no joke.
No,
and Graham Barton, welcome to the NFL, kid. Welcome to the NFL.
That's okay. And we'll see. And that's good. You want them to get tested early on. If they can handle those guys in the middle, they can handle anybody.
Yeah.
So, and I expect Liam Cohen to not do what Dave Canales tried to do last year. And that's, overpower the strength of a defense when you have an interior line that's substandard.
I do think better interior. I think you said Washington is one of your sneaky teams this year, right? You've said that, I think.
I like Jaden Daniels. You can bust on Dan Quinn, but he did some good things with the Falcons early on.
Right.
I think he's a pretty good coach. I think he brings a lot of energy. And there's some talent on that team. And sometimes it just looks like one of those quintessential teams that people overlook, kind of like the Texans last year. I mean, quarterback makes a freaking difference. And this kid, I just believe in Jaden Daniels. I really do. I think he's a superb talent. If he can handle the physical rigors, he's still kind of a slight build. Mm-hmm. If he can, make sure that he gets down and doesn't take a lot of contact, I think he'll have a huge year. He's just too good of a passer and too good of a runner. We'll see, but I think obviously they need a little bit more weapons around him. I'm not saying Washington's going to the playoffs, but I think they'll be better. I think they'll be better than people think. And I hope it's not week one.
Yeah, I hope it's not week one. I mean, I said this back in April. They had my favorite draft at the top because they got Jaden Daniels, who obviously I was very high on. They got my number one defensive player in Johnny Newton in the middle, who, by the way, is dealing with an injury. It's uncertain if he's going to play in this game. And then Mike Sanders who we saw a lot at Michigan, a great cornerback there. I think he's going to feature in this game. And then the tight end, Ben Sinnott, he was my number one tight end in this draft.
He's a player, dog.
I think he's a player, and the only guy in front of him is Zach Ertz, who has injuries, so I think he's going to make an immediate impact. And by the way, defensively on Washington, they brought in Bobby Wagner. And Bobby Wagner, it looked like a couple years ago, maybe he was starting to fade, and then last year back in Seattle had a really good bounce back. We'll see if that continues.
He's got Levante David in him.
Him and Levante David both with all the tread on their tires still going. So that's going to be fun. And they also brought in Frankie Louvu from Carolina in the offseason, and he was really, really strong for them last year on that defense, which was actually sneaky good for Carolina. So I actually really like the defensive pieces and what they've done to make up the loss of like a Montez Sweat and Chase Young and some of those other guys.
I don't know if you saw this, and I don't know how it'll affect the Washington, because I know it's big news in Commanders country. But there was an undercover investigation done by one of these internet news trolls, and they caught their VP of content. They did, the hidden camera, him calling his players some very, very homophobic. African-American players are mostly homophobic. They're not well educated. It was horrific, the things that he said about the Washington players, and the NFL fans are a bunch of alcoholic mouth breathers. I mean, this is the VP of content of the Washington Commanders. I mean, he really, really said some horrible things about the players. in general. And I don't know how that reverberates through the organization, so to speak. But it's certainly a distraction that they're going to have to deal with for the next couple of days because it's big news up there. And those are just things that, and they said these are things that we don't have in Tampa Bay. You know, I was looking at the Chiefs, reading an article in The Athletic about the Chiefs offseason, and you forget, you know, from the minute they celebrated their Super Bowl, there was a mass shooting at their – I totally forgot about that, the mass shooting at the parade. And which cascaded into all these legal issues for their players off the field, including Rashee Rice and the 120-mile-an-hour Lamborghini incident in Dallas, and on and on and on. They've had a lot of distractions. And I think eventually this stuff just takes a toll. I don't know how the hell they won the World Championship last year, won the Super Bowl with that receiving core. It just speaks to what Patrick Mahomes does. But at some point, that stuff runs out. And I think this is the year. It's a reason why no team has won 3 Super Bowls in a row, because it's damn hard.
There is,
to continue getting the breaks.
My counterpoint to you would be for almost 2 decades, the Patriots always had a lot of noise going on, and it didn't seem to affect them much.
Did they?
I mean, they did. There was a lot there. I think there was a lot there. Now, they did go 10 years. There was a 10-year gap where they did not win a Super Bowl.
Right.
So let's point that out right now. But I don't know. The Chiefs, I'm picking the Chiefs again to win the Super Bowl. I know that seems crazy, but this is not a normal quarterback. This is not a normal head coach. And I
get all that. I'm just the for me, it's percentages. Like it just, there's a reason it hasn't happened. A lot of things got to go your way. Their schedule is ridiculous. I mean, it's just, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, they just remind me of Georgia football, though, in like college. You're just like, until somebody beats them,
I agree.
then you let me know.
I can't give you a football reason why they won't repeat. I can't. I just can't. They're just, and that's because of Patrick Mahomes more than anything else. He just knows how to win games. But I just feel like karma, the breaks, injuries, distractions, all these things that take a toll on an NFL team will finally catch up with them. And I think they'll regress.
I mean, it's rigged anyway. This is going to be Kelsey's last year. I'm already seeing, in my opinion, it is. I'm already seeing reports Taylor Swift is going to be at the stadium tonight, and security's
did you see the report that leaked out? There's a report that leaked out. There was this elaborate PR press release from Kelsey's, I guess, management company that, you know, it was like, they've decided to go in different directions. It was this respectfully worded breakup letter, you know, that they were putting out there, and it was leaked out. And of course, you know, the agency went bananas and was like, we never wrote that. We never did this. Is bull crap. And had, you know, the date when it was going to happen in late September, I believe it was. I'm like, I mean, it's just, the distractions never stop with, you know, and with the Chiefs and Taylor Swift and all this other stuff. So it just, I don't know. I don't believe any of it, but we don't know what the hell to believe these days.
I will say, to bring it back to the Bucs real quick. So, I mean, I think you would agree. I think most of us agree. Like, in terms of the NFC South this year, I don't think Carolina's there yet. I think New Orleans has a chance to have a top 5 pick next year. I do not like the Saints at all. So I think we all are on it's either the Falcons or the Bucs. And you're seeing some in the national media are coming around to the Bucs.
Coming around to the Bucs.
I saw Florio had the Bucs in his top 10 power rankings. John Ledger just picked the Bucs to win the divisions. Trevor Sikkema, those two dudes continuing to hold the Bucs there up high in the national media for us. But I tell you what, when you look at the Falcons, JP, I actually feel worse about them as the season begins. And this is not coming from a place of bias, but hear me out real quick. When you look at what they are, and I'm just saying offensively, and this has nothing to do with Kirk Cousins, by the way. I don't get too concerned about Kirk Cousins. I know what he can do. But so Zach Robinson's the OC. He comes from the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to run sort of a Rams style type of operation there offensively, from what Zach Robinson, you know, was there with McVay and all that, you know what the Rams' secret sauce has always been was that their receivers could block the hell out of everybody else. And I'm looking at the Falcons right now, and I'm telling you, Drake London ain't blocking anybody. Darnell Mooney ain't blocking anybody. Ray McLeod, God bless the Tampa native, he ain't blocking anybody. And Kyle Pitts ain't blowing anybody off the ball. This is year 4 for Kyle Pitts. Arthur Smith for 3 years could not figure out what he is. I don't think anybody has figured out yet what Kyle Pitts is. And that's a little bit of a problem. And I actually think he might be a little too similar to Drake London. So actually, I don't know if they fit in an offense together, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Well, don't forget.
And because of the fact the previous regime took a running back with the 8th overall pick, they're going to feel forced like they have to be a running identity type of football team. And I don't know if that really meshes with what they want to do. So when I look at all this offensively for Atlanta, I actually have a lot of question marks. And then take into effect defensively, their strategy has just been, well, we're going to add a 30-year-old, a 31-year-old, a 32-year-old, a 30-year-old. That's what they've done defensively. So they're old back there. And I'm just saying, I think there's a lot of question marks with this Atlanta team that people are looking over. And the more I dove into them this week, the less I liked them.
All good points. All good points. Don't forget how much Kirk Cousins loved throwing to big tight ends. He made TJ Hockenstein a star. He likes, if Kyle Pitts can't get it together with Kirk Cousins, then he's never going to get it together. And I drafted him in my fantasy, and he's also got a hamstring issue, according to some of the folks in his.
He's been injured a lot, man.
Yeah. So that's not good. 1,000 yards in his first season and really hasn't done much since. Can Kirk Cousins unlock the enigma that is Kyle Pitts? We shall see. All right, let's take our first break, and then we're going to come back and do some more sound from Baker and Bowles, get more into the Bucs, Washington, a lot of the key matchups. We'll get to some Florida State takes in Florida. Starting there, number 1 quarterback, DJ Lagway, is going to get the start. Is this the start of the Lagway era? I don't see how Graham Mertz gets his job back. I really don't. So we'll hit all that when we come back. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group. Speaking of the Gators, JEEVESLawgroup.com. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. That's what you want. And being local is a thing, folks. Dealing with the local judges, the local lawfare, that's important. So when you're involved in an accident, you want the biggest settlement, and you want somebody to aggressively represent you, it is Scott Jeeves and the lawyers at the Jeeves Law Group. JEEVESLawgroup.com. Go to the website, contact them through there for a free case evaluation, folks. A free case evaluation. Whatever your issue is, give them a call. Feel free. Just mention the JP Peterson Show. They'll give you a free case evaluation. Back at 3 with more Bucs Washington talk. Stay with us. Celebrate August with the dazzling green hue of Celebrate August with the dazzling green hue of Peridot, known for its vibrant and refreshing sparkle. Yes, that's the birthstone of August at the Gold and Diamond Source. Explore the Gold and Diamond Source's stunning collection of Peridot jewelry, showcasing the gemstone's unique glow and versatility in rings, necklaces, and earrings. Peridot's distinctive color makes it a standout choice for any occasion, adding a touch of elegance and charm to your ensemble. Enjoy 15% off when you shop August Gems online only. Stop by the Golden Diamond Source to experience the allure of August Gem and let their expert staff help you find the perfect Peridot piece. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmsted Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the JP Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. They'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance. Make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799. ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right, that's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Gators Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Gators Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units, and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez and Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go! Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, the great Chris Lugo. Get your concierge medicine representative right there because you need someone that's going to look after your health. You can combine your health insurance with concierge medicine that Bay Area Modern Medical Center will bring you. Let Chris Lugo direct your medical care, spend time with you, give you personal nutrition plans, hormone replacement therapy, either male or female. He does both of those. All that at the Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Get your nutrition right. Get healthy. Stay healthy at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. BAMMC.com is where you go. All right, let's get back to – I want to get to some of the great comments here before we get back to Baker and Bowles. Good morning to you, Nathan Elliott. He says there's going to be Vezilla is hungry. Barbecue Daniel is on the menu. I'm not sure what that means, but Barbecue Daniel's on the menu means I will try and step by your tailgate party.
He's talking about Vita Vea. Zilla is hungry.
Okay.
Barbecue.
Daniel's
is on the menu.
I thought he was talking about his tailgate party, that there was Jack Daniel's barbecue sauce on the ribs. That's where I was going. Because, I'm there. Kenneth McClary, good morning to you. Said, damn, JP, you have a pretty strong stomach to rewatch that FSU game. I had a hard time keeping my dinner down, let alone watching it. I'm just here to tell you, I mean, it looked like Keystone Cops on that defense. Guys just running into each other, running past the hole. I mean, Bill O'Brien had to be like laughing his ass off at how bad and how messed up they had this defense. They had the linebackers and safeties going every which way but where they were supposed to go. And my God, I mean, the linebackers just cannot cover anyone out of the backfield. Like, make a freaking adjustment. They can't do it. Go zone. It's not that hard. Good morning, Christopher O'Reilly, to you. And Rick says that Todd excited drop is me when the bartender says IPAs are 2 for $1. I'm excited. I am as well. Yes. Nathan Elliott says the situations they were, the way Arians stepped down, Brady drama, defending White, battles from Leftwich, the media, the fans, and getting his staff together. Bull has now taken his walls down. Yes, well said. I mean, it's a different situation. It's a completely different situation for him. This is, for the lack of a better term, this is his team. This is his team now, his coaches, his everything. And, I'm not saying it's going to make him a Super Bowl champion, but he should be able to coach better. I think that's just fair. Christopher O'Reilly says, with all the hype with the run game, I'm excited to see if we can get some kickoff returns for touchdowns. We are long overdue for some excitement on kickoff. I think we underestimate how just horrible special teams has been for the Bucs in the last.
Yeah. How many guys has Jason drafted over the years to try to fill that role, from Kenny Bells to the Robert Herons to the Jalen Dardens of the world? I mean, Scotty Miller tried to be it. They've gone through so many potential solutions and none of them have been it.
I think Bucky Irvin's the guy, right? I think he can be.
Well,
that
it sounds
guy.
like Trey Palmer is going to return punts, but I got to be honest. When I see Trey Palmer return punts, I think he looks very skittish doing it.
Yeah,
to be honest, he don't look comfortable. I don't know why, but I don't see it. Maybe Cam Johnson gets a look at some point doing it, but have the Bucs had? I know Spurlock had the first one, which was one of the great moments in this franchise's history. Have the Bucs had one since then?
Yes, they have.
Or Bobby Rainey. Bobby Rainey did it in 2013 against the Bills. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, but I just hope there are going to be more returns. I think a lot of these teams are just going to play it safe and just kick it through the end zone and bring it out to the 30. They may have to change that to the 35. I think that will keep teams from.
Clifton Smith did it. Okay, I remember that now. So there's been 3 now from my my recollection.
Yeah, not many. Nathan always says Sean Tucker as a runner just needs to improve his blitz pickup and blocking. Yeah, I mean, Sean Tucker is going to be used in a very limited way. When he's in there and they throw the ball, it's going to be probably screens or pre-read, nothing in the terms of the 7-step drop back. I don't think they're going to leave him out to try to do any blitz pickup. That's silly, but you can use him as a runner. I think he's really, really good. Aaron Stinney and Matt Filer were weak on that left side. Mock was learning through most of the year. The O-line strength and depth is much improved. I totally agree. That's why, Jason Light, that was job one, was to shore up the interior line. That's why he went out and got 2 veterans to play left guard, and Bredeson's going to get the start. He drafted Elijah Klein to eventually take over that spot, and he's been tremendous in preseason. I think he's been a great find. And you got, obviously a huge improvement at center in Graham Barton in terms of physically being able to handle the job. It'll take some time mentally for him to get used to it, and he'll make some mistakes. It doesn't mean he's a bad player. The bottom line is he can move people where Hainsey was, getting knocked 2 and 3 yards back into the backfield. You can't have a run game with interior pressure like that. You just can't.
Yeah. And I do like at least from a backup standpoint, I think Robert Hainsey is a very fine backup center in this league. I mean, he could start in a pinch. He could be a good backup. And even this Royce Newman has got some starting experience as well. I think he's going to be the main backup to Bredesen too. Yeah.
Rick says Cansey made Kelsey retire. He embarrassed him at times. There ain't no doubt about that. He embarrassed him at times. He really did. Nathan Elliott is not a Devin White fan. Said the Eagles could have tried to trade Devin White, is what I read. Nobody in the NFL wanted to pay the asking price the Eagles were asking. Yeah, imagine what that was. I mean, you probably could have had him for a 6th-round pick. They don't want him. They figured it out. It does. If I'm going to be honest, I think they took the Bucs at least 2 years too late to realize that. Certainly a year too late. Cost them a lot of games. Mike Stover says only teams I could see put a stop to the Chiefs in the AFC are Baltimore and Miami. I think the Dolphins are going to be good. They had a lot of injuries on defense last year. I think they kept them from being an elite team. And Tua's got 2 of the best receivers in the game, and he's such an accurate passer. You keep him healthy, I think the Dolphins could be tough. And I think the Ravens are going to be tough. With Derrick Henry, it'll be very interesting to see how good they could be. We forget how good the Ravens were last year because they always flop in the playoffs. But they were damn good.
Yeah, I had Cincinnati too if they cross your fingers on Joe Burrow. But Cincinnati is going to be there too. And if Jamar Chase gets on the field at any point in this season.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs will lose tonight. I think the Chiefs will be 0-1 after the Ravens.
I agree. I do agree, actually.
Meets McGee says, I got the Falcons losing the first game against the Steelers. I see them getting out physical by the Steelers, and TJ Watt will feast. It's a lot of new in Atlanta for them to come out in their first game. And
a lot of new in Pittsburgh, too, to be honest with you.
There's not a new coach. And I
know
what McCollum can do.
It is the Arthur Smith ball, though.
Yeah, it kind of is, isn't it?
I don't know. Russell Wilson, what's left? It's just I don't know.
I got the Steelers in that one, though. I got the Steelers. Christopher Cole says Cousins will be under siege from TJ Watt. I don't know why. I like the Steelers in this spot. I really do. Which is good because you want the Falcons to start 0-1. Falcons will fun to watch. Morris will use Robinson a lot. The wide receivers are speedsters and they get behind the secondary. No blocking. Pitts is all hype. Cousin isn't ready, and Penix will flop. That's Nathan Elliott just ripping the Falcons, a la Nick Geddes here. What else do I want to get to? James, good morning to you. Says just contain Daniels. Don't let him run if you make him regret it. If the Bucs secondary plays well, Bucs win. If Yaya is the real deal, Bucs win 12.
I don't know if they can win 12. I don't think they're there yet.
Yeah. Christopher Cole says, look out for Cam Johnson. I'll be interested to see how he is featured in this. They got to have a couple of touches for him in this game.
What I don't want to see from Cam Johnson is I don't want him to turn into Devin Tompkins, where when he's on the field, I can just predict, all right, here comes the sweep.
Yeah.
I think Cam Johnson's more than that, quite frankly. I think you would agree too. Like, I would find some more creative ways to get him the ball other than just the typical, here comes the jet sweep.
Right. I would agree with that. All right, let's get back to some of the sound here. What do we got next from? You want to play a little Baker, or you want to go to Bowles?
Yeah, we can transition to Baker here. Let me get him pulled up real quick.
Baker was excited yesterday too. Stability for Baker Mayfield seems like a thing that can really unlock him as a quarterback. I think he's going to have a huge year. I really, really do. I've got the over on every one of his metrics. I think the only way he doesn't hit him is if he gets injured.
He's been talking about how he can improve in 2023 or 2024, coming off career highs in 2023.
Yeah, I think consistent. Like we started out great last year. Obviously, we talked about the highs and lows that we endured last year. Just more consistent, I think. And I think this group is more than capable of that, of being extremely well coached, detailed throughout the year, and really keyed in on the details. So I think for me, just being more consistent, I say it all the time, my job is to put us in the best position to win. So for me, whether that's checking the right run plays, getting the ball out on time, being accurate. So for me, just more consistent overall.
I think having a run game is going to be so beneficial to him. To not be in obvious passing situations, third and long all the time, is going to tremendously benefit Baker Mayfield. Going to make his job so much easier. And I don't think we talk enough about that.
Well, we know that his best year, at least in Cleveland, and I know we're a little bit removed from that, was when they had the run game working, right?
Right, exactly.
But last year, I mean, we sometimes can be prisoners of the moment, and we will admit that Baker got better as the year went on, but there were some tough stretches there in the middle.
Oh, God, yes.
I mean, we were having conversations about Kyle Trask.
Yeah.
We were not alone in those conversations, but I don't think we're going to have that issue. I hope we don't have that issue this year, now that he's got the contract and everything. But, I do think that
I was talking about Kyle Trask just in terms of Baker being hurt in the last game. I was never saying we need to, switch up here. Baker had a great year last year, but I don't – and it worked. It worked against Carolina, but barely.
Barely.
He could barely move in that game.
Here's Baker talking about the Bucs youth on the roster, how it can both be a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Again, they're the second youngest roster in the NFL this year.
Good and bad. You have always your rookie mistakes, your learning curves, and that's just the nature of this game. But then also you have sometimes they play so fast that they might not, have any regard for their body, and just go out there and play as hard as you possibly can. And the young guys always bring juice, because I think your veterans, they get into such a routine. Not that you get bored with it, but it becomes so normal to go through this routine, the ins and outs, so be detailed about it. You get excited on game days, but it's always fun to have new guys bring in new energy and to elevate that standard as well.
That's and you got to think about this roster. It's the second youngest roster in the league, and Jason Light has gone 13 for 13 on his last 2 drafts in terms of players on this roster. And and this is a huge key for this season, and it has to be. I mean, you're looking for Graham Barton to be your starting center. All right, that's a huge position in this league, right? That's a big deal. You're looking for Chris Braswell to juice up your pass rush and give you some sacks when in this league coming off the edge. That's a big ask. There's no doubt about it. But with everybody around him, you feel like he can get that done. I'm not necessarily saying they need 15 sacks out of the guy. If you can get 7.5 to 8 sacks out of Chris Braswell, that's more than enough for a rookie.
Well, I do think he's going to come along slow, though. I really do, with Chris Braswell. I think he might come along slow, kind of how Yaya did last year, and maybe around after 5 or 6 games, you might see Chris Braswell sort of flash, like Yaya Diaby did, and sort of force the issue, and that's going to determine what JTS is doing. We haven't talked a lot about him, I feel like, this offseason, but we're keeping an eye on the fact that he's the starter. He's the starting defensive end, outside linebacker on this football team, and he's in a contract year. And but unfortunately, I just don't think he's not a true pass rusher. I think he's a guy that tries to stop the run, and you can debate if you think he's a good run stopper at the position. I know you don't think he can set the edge at all.
No.
So we'll see what you get out of him, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not hoping for much. But again, Tyke Smith, Jalen McMillan, Bucky Irving. I mean, these are guys that are going to make an impact on his team, all of them.
You get 3 starters day one out of that draft, and Braswell eventually could mold into that. And then Bucky's going to play a role.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that it's imperative that those young guys bring some juice. All right, what's next?
This was him doing a lengthy breakdown here of the Washington defense, which he happens to be familiar with some of the players over there.
Yeah, obviously high draft pick in Mikey at nickel. So he's a really athletic guy. I think he's a guy that can do a lot of things for him in the secondary. So we got to find out how they're going to use him. I played with Jeremy Chin as a safety, a guy that's very versatile, and something that I know they'll be able to move him around. He's a guy that can play safety, linebacker, move around all over the field. Frankie and Bobby, obviously Frankie's a high energy guy. Doesn't have an off switch, high motor. Great guy. He's going to compete his tail off. And then Bobby Wagner is a legend. So, I mean, he's a seasoned vet. He's seen every type of scheme. You can tell just his recognition of plays. People can talk about his age, but I'm pretty sure he led the league in tackles last year. So I don't think he's really lost a step. So, and then down their strongest point is the D-line. And it's been that way for a while. I know they lost Montez Sweat, but they replaced some guys, brought in some new pieces, and it starts with the interior guys, Payne and Allen, 2 really good players that have been with them for a while. And it's when you talk about basics of football, game planning, you always say it starts up front with the big guys. And this game is one of those matchups that it really does start up front. So,
boy, that is a breakdown. Well, he's very familiar with all these guys. The Baker does his homework. He really does. I mean, he's a great preparation guy. Here's a little comment that just came in.
I know. Let's comment.
Mayfield is an arrogant idiot. Sorry. We appreciate all opinions here, Ed but I think you haven't been paying attention for the last year and a half. That's a very widely held public opinion. From
is it informed?
About 5 years old.
I haven't seen anything that suggests
like Colin Coward's take on Tampa. You're 30 years old. It's 30 years old, bro. Move forward. People evolve.
I have not seen anything that suggests Baker Mayfield has been arrogant since he's gotten to Tampa. In fact, in terms of ingratiating yourself to the Tampa Bay community, he's as good as any Buccaneer quarterback that I've ever seen.
Has ever done. Yeah, no question about it. And but I like to get those comments out there. We appreciate everybody commenting, and
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you're a Bucs fan or not. I question a little bit there, but
you know, I think it's interesting that we see this all the time. I mean, there's public perceptions and personas. I think about Jameis Winston, but if you've been in my chair and gotten to know guys, and certainly Baker Mayfield since the day he came here, there's been a vibe of day one. This guy gets it. He's anything but an arrogant idiot.
Well, it's kind of how the two most polarizing quarterbacks in the NFL are probably Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
But do you ever hear players say anything negative about Dak Prescott the way he's spoken about in the media?
No. His teammates love him.
Do you really hear many people go on record about Aaron Rodgers that he's some sort of, I mean, maybe a little bit, but
I think Aaron's probably a different deal because, the media assault on him for obvious reasons. Yeah, I think, I don't know Aaron Rodgers at all.
Right.
I've never interviewed him. Baker, I spent some time with him, in charity events and some other things. And
I'm just going off of Hard Knocks was like the first time really we got to see the curtain pulled back a little bit on Aaron Rodgers. And I'm just reading off of that. That's all I'm going off of. I didn't come here and say, oh, he's a weird cat.
Yeah.
Like the way he seems to be portrayed.
I haven't watched Hard Knocks.
Oh, this year?
No.
Well, the Bears sort of tempered it down because the McCaskey family, or I think that's who they are in Chicago, they were against profanity and all that kind of stuff. So everything I've heard, it was kind of toned down. But the Giants one was fantastic. I vote for doing the off-season one every single year over the training camp one.
Yeah, I saw one of the Giants ones, and that was pretty good. I've been watching the receivers one. That's excellent. Mm-hmm. Gets behind the scenes with some of those guys. So I got to catch up, though. Definitely got to catch up on some of that stuff. Aaron Rodgers to me has never been a quote great leader. I think he's, kind of somewhat estranged, from some of his team. I know a lot of his teammates love him. I don't think we've ever heard a lot negative stuff from his teammates. It's just more negative from the media. But
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the results are what they are.
Yeah, I'm just strictly pointing media coverage, the way that Baker was covered in the media, the way Dak is covered in the media, the way Rodgers is covered in the media.
I think it. Yeah, I don't think it gives an accurate perception of who they actually are.
No, and we don't know who any of these dudes are. To be honest with you, we really don't.
I think I have a pretty good feel for who Baker.
Yeah, I mean, unless you've been around them a little bit, but at least fans, it's hard to really get a good grasp.
I know nothing about Aaron Rodgers. I've never met him in person. I've seen a lot of his interviews, so I get a little bit of a feel, but guys can fool you in those things. I know this. He's been right about a lot of stuff. That's for damn sure. All right, we'll take another break, and we'll come back on the other side, and Nick Geddes is going to get some things off his chest about his Florida State Seminoles. And we'll talk a little USF Alabama. Is USF Twitter going a little bit bonkers, or is that just my take? Calm down now. All right, we're brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle and you're doing some business, it's become your main business. Do you have business insurance? You got to have business insurance, folks, because if you don't, your personal wealth is at stake. If you get sued and you don't have business insurance, they can come after your personal possessions. So it doesn't cost a lot of money in a lot of instances. So make sure you have it. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and ask them what the issues are, how much it's going to cost, and what your exposure might be. 813-877-7799, Italiano Insurance. While you're at it, have them shop their homeowners and auto insurance. You might find that they'll save you tons of money like they did for me. Italiano Insurance, great customer service. Let them do all the work. You make all the savings. 813-877-7799. Back in 3. Hey, it's football season, and we welcome back the Gator Report every Monday and Friday, sponsored by the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Just go to the website. You can contact them through there. Scott Jeeves is a tremendous, aggressive attorney and a big Gator fan, so we appreciate him supporting this show and, of course, your Florida Gators. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results, whether it's personal injury or anything else, any law matter at all, it's the Jeeves Law Group. Jeeves lawgroup.com. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. JP here to ask the question, are you planning an event, meeting, or conference? If so, you'll want to call the designers and production professionals at Extravaganza Productions Incorporated. With over 35 years of experience in the events industry, designing and producing every type of small to large event, they can provide a huge resource for design ideas, audio, visual, sound, lighting, decor, and entertainment to turn your event into an incredible experience for the entire audience. Folks, I've worked up close and personal with this group at many national events and Tampa events, and they have unique capabilities that help you save time and money in the planning and execution of your next event. Don't delay. Call these pros today at 813-621-4700 or check out their website at extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you, and they'll provide a free initial consultation for your event. Extravaganza Productions, the best of the business. Golfers, listen up. The hottest new driving range craze has come to Rogers Park in Tampa. The Top Tracer range is now open 10 to 9 p.m. And just like you see on TV, every shot is tracked for yardage and accuracy, giving you immediate feedback. And best of all, you can virtually play the top courses like Pebble Beach or St. Andrews with your buddies. Plus, great food and drink options available in the well-appointed hitting bays. Very comfortable out there. Reservations highly recommended, starting at $25 per hour, including balls. Reserve at RogersParkGolf.net. That's RogersParkGolf.net. See you there.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by our good friends at Third Generation Plumbing and AC. If you have an emergency situation, go to their website, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. They also do AC. And get their phone number. You can email them, call them, whatever you like. John Rodriguez, the owner over there, runs a tight ship, and it's all about giving great customer service and honest technicians that will come out and tell you exactly what's going on and not try to overcharge you for a brand new system when you just need your drain line unclogged. It happens all the time because a lot of these techs or the big companies are incentivized to sell new systems. They don't do that at Third Generation Plumbing and AC. So go to their website, thirdgenerationplumbing.com, reach them through there and tell them JP sent you. Great folks over there. All right, Nick Geddes. You've been waiting since Monday to get this off your chest. As you texted me, Mike Norvell. What did you text me? Mike Norvell. You got to look under the hood a little bit more.
Well, I made a little comment after the
Georgia.
Georgia.
It said 13-0.
Well, that's on the surface. I told you
10 wins the year before. What am I missing?
Well, I told you after that Georgia Tech game, I said you need to look under the hood just a little bit, and there were some alarming things going on at Florida State and with Mike Norvell's tenure. And after losing to Boston College, it's crystal clear to me that this program is in total disarray, both on the field, and I really think the strategy off the field. Now, addressing 13-0 and 10-3, it's important to note, obviously, Mike Norvell hit the transfer portal really hard, and he deserves the praise for that because he needed to get Florida State turned around, and he had to do it fast. And the way to do that was through the transfer portal. And he landed the Keon Colemans of the world, the Trey Bensons, the Braden Fisk, the Jared Verse, and on and on and on and on. Many of those players came through that 2022 transfer portal cycle. It was very unique that a lot of those players had 2 years of eligibility left, and they were able to stay for another year as well after finishing the year on that 7-game win streak or whatever it is in 2022. Correct?
Yeah. Why did they stay?
Because they had unfinished business, and they felt they bought into Florida State. It was
Mike
a very
Norvell
unique.
Get any credit for that? For retaining?
He does
all those
get credit.
players?
He does
Okay.
get credit for that. Absolutely. But what you have to realize is that the transfer portal is not made the same every single year. That's just a reality. And if you're relying on hitting on 10, 15 transfers every single cycle, it's just impossible to do that. And this year, Florida State brought in 17 transfers, 17.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go through all of them, and I know it's a 2-game sample size, the only one that looks like he can play is 13 on offense, Jalen Lucas. And by the way, they barely get him the football.
Right.
Everyone else is really struggling mightily. And so I just think when you look at the top of the college football landscape right now, all those teams use the transfer portal, yes, but they use it as a supplemental means to patch up holes. Florida State used it to bring in as much talent as they could that were simply better than everybody else they had on their roster because they had been a while since they had recruited to the level that is necessary to win and sustain that at Florida State. And Mike Norvell, while he was doing that at the high school level, 3 of his cycles so far at Florida State, he has finished outside the top 20 in recruiting. He has not had one top 10 class. They just went 13-0, and they got out-recruited by Miami, who was, 6-7 last year, and Florida, who won 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
That, to me, is a bit – you should be irritated by that if you're a Florida State fan, that you could not out-recruit the 2 big rivals in your own state after going 13-0, and they both finished under 500. That, to me, and these are all facts that I'm putting out here. It's also a fact that Florida State, and I know that I know you have opinions on why this happened and everything. They had Travis Hunter in their grasp, lost him on National Signing Day 2 years ago.
Yep.
They had KJ Bolden in their grasp, lost him on National Signing Day this past year, and you saw how great he played in that first game for Georgia, already a day 1 starter.
Yeah.
So Florida State simply has not stacked together recruiting classes along the way that you need to have sustainability in this league. And when you miss on a transfer, to quote Nick Saban on College Game Day, you are shit out of luck. And Florida State, by my estimation, has missed on 16 of the 17 transfers. And so it is what it is. They're not going to get much better. They have what they have. And then the other problems that I find with the Florida State program is I don't think this coaching staff is as great as people think. I think they had very talented players last year that helped Adam Fuller get an extension to make him a very high-paid defensive coordinator. Show me one offensive lineman that Alex Atkins has developed on the offensive line. Show me one linebacker that Randy Shannon has developed in the linebacking core. And show me where the homegrown talent is coming from on the defensive line other than the transfer portal. Show me where that's taking place at Florida State, and I'll be happy to stand down from what I'm saying. But I simply think that Mike Norvell has become too loyal to this coaching staff, and I think it's time to switch things up. I think this was absolutely needed because I do think Florida State is at least a couple years away from being the program you think they are. I think 23-4 over the last 2 years was a perfect storm, more than an indication that Florida State is back.
Those are all good points, and I would not argue with any of them. I mean, these last 2 years, he nailed the portal, and this year was an abject disaster. There's no question about it. Now, they currently rank in your On3 rankings 12th overall in the 2024 class.
Yep, and they landed a big 4-star linebacker yesterday in the 2026 class.
Yeah, which is a big deal. So I think they're improving their high school recruiting, and I think it has to be a focus. Now, Florida sits at number 10 in those rankings as well with 2 5-stars. Miami sits at number 5 with 3 5-stars in those rankings as well. So it's a great point that FSU has had such great success on the field, but it's not transferring into their recruiting. Now, listen, 12th in the nation is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
You can do things with 12th in the nation.
You shouldn't be losing to Georgia Tech and Boston College.
Even
That's a separate conversation for everything I just said. You still should not be losing to these mid-tier ACC teams the way you are.
And I think, one of the biggest problems that FSU, at least it shows to me, is their, Josh Farmer has been a good player for them, for the past, couple of years. He doesn't look that good this year. Daryl Jackson is awful. He plays so high.
But he's a freak. He's a freak, though.
Yeah, but his technique is god awful. I mean, the way Georgia Tech moved those two guys out of the way in the run game was embarrassing, and any of the backups didn't do much better. And the linebackers are thoroughly confused. I mean, this is as
they have
bad.
no idea.
Yeah, and Marvin Jones Jr., another one of the guys they paid a lot of money to come in, has been non-existent.
Well, I'll tell you the problem with Marvin Jones Jr. and Pat Payton, who have both been non-existent, is these two guys cannot set the edge and they can't play the run against a running quarterback, and that's what Haynes King presented to them, and that's obviously what Tommy Castellanos presented. Yeah. That's why Marvin Jones Jr. and Pat Payton were taken out of the game, because they can't do that. I do have hope for those guys if you face some other quarterbacks who aren't going to run like that, and that's obviously going to start against Memphis, against Seth Hennigan. So I have a little bit of faith in them, but in general, yes, this defensive line, this whole front seven has been a disaster through 2 games. And
as I said after game 1, that's not fixable. When you got guys that just physically don't hold up and they don't play with any passion, I mean, there are just moments in the game where you expect, the chop was going in Ireland, you tie the score, it's 3rd and 7, and you expect a push, forward. You're going to win the line of scrimmage just on emotion, and you're getting knocked 4 and 5 yards off the ball. And that's just like, well, everything was set up for you to make a play, and nobody's making plays on that defense. It's
and how about I mean, we talked a lot about Florida being undisciplined. Florida State's right there with them. And it was honestly worse in this game for Florida State than it was for Florida against Miami. You have your senior center, who's supposed to be an all-conference guy, Maurice Smith, 2 false starts at the center position at home.
And getting blown off the ball.
We got DJ
like 3 yards deep into the backfield.
Yeah, we got DJU intentionally grounding on 2nd and 5, turning a drive from 2nd and 5 to 3rd and 20, and it's dead, obviously, right there. Yeah. I mean, you got Terrence Ferguson, and good on Mike Norvell for yanking him out of the game immediately, doing extracurriculars after the play. I know it was a flop or whatever, but still, it's just stupid. It's just stupid stuff. And then Mike Norvell clearly panicking. I know you probably ripped into him on this one. He changed the game himself coming out of half.
That's a game loser.
On 4th and 5, it's a game loser. Your defense is not great, but your defense was actually starting to make a little bit of stops. And by the way, you got the best punter. The one thing I can say about the Florida State team is they got the best punter in the nation. I mean, he's going to pin Boston College down there in the 10 probably, and you'll take your chances. But no, you give Boston College a short field position, the game's over. So, and we haven't even mentioned DJU, and that's my thing. It's like DJU, I'll tell you this right now. We watched every game he played at Clemson. I kept my eye on him at Oregon State. I don't think he was this bad. This is like a different level of bad that DJU is playing right now at Florida State. I think his confidence is shot. I don't see a guy that looks like he's enjoying anything. How could you, honestly? The crowd turned on him in that game. I don't know how. I don't care what you're paying him at this point. You're not going to the playoff. You're not going to the ACC championship. You're hard pressed to win a game at the moment. I'm still trying to find where these wins are coming from. I don't care what you're paying him. If you want to salvage something with this team and identify what you're going to be moving forward, these mercenaries got to take a back seat.
Absolutely.
They have 100%. To. Brooklyn has to play against Memphis in 2 weeks.
That's exactly what I said on Tuesday. Put the young kids in and let them play. I saw an interesting column in the Democrat from a former player at FSU that played for Bobby Bowden, and that's exactly what he did back in 1976 when he first got here, 77, when he had a lot of guys that were but those are guys that are used to losing, and the guys that aren't going to play hard. And you got young, hungry guys. You've got some talented young players on this roster that you have to turn to. I don't care if they're smaller. I don't care if they're and it starts with Brock Glenn. You have got to get DJU out of there. This offensive line is, as Corey Long said, it was, and Pat Burnham said this as well. Jordan Travis was an absolute escape artist, and he made that offensive line look decent the last couple of years. It's terrible.
No, and DJ can't move.
Slow-footed quarterback. You can't have a slow-footed. You
can't do that. At least Brock's not a guy that's going to run like Jordan, but he's going to give you some mobility. Even Kromenhoek, if they wanted to get, if they felt like they wanted to go with him instead of Glenn, I don't care. He can move too. From what I think he had over 1,000 rushing yards his senior season. Like, he can move.
He's a 5-star quarterback.
He's a 5-star quarterback. So whatever it is, Glenn. And by the way, I've been listening to a lot of things from Florida State people, and they're saying, "Well, DJU has played better than Brock Glenn in practice." I don't care.
No, he hasn't.
I don't care.
Not according to Pat Burnham.
It hasn't been. If he's played better than Brock Glenn by what? A half percentage point? I don't think it's been that deep, and I really don't care
First of all,
who's doing what in practice. He can't play on the field. He can't do
they're
it.
they're going against that FSU defense in practice. Who wouldn't
Yeah.
look good?
I heard great reports about Roydell Williams. Yeah, Roydell Williams looked amazing in practice, and now I see why, because he was facing the FSU defensive line. He hasn't broken one tackle in 2 games.
No, he's it's evident right now who the talented players are. Now, defensively, I don't think you're going to get any better. I don't see how you can. The younger players are not going to. You don't have any. Nicholson's the best linebacker, but he's not great. He
got beat horribly by Trayshawn Ward on one of those little those little wheel route for a touchdown.
They can't cover anybody. Asking those linebackers to cover anybody out of the backfield is just foolhardy. Go zone. Let your corners, at least make some tackles in the. And I know you got some good cover corner zone, but you got to protect your linebackers who just can't play pass defense at all. That's why they've given up so many third downs, is because all they got to do is flare a back out of the backfield and throw it to them. It's the easiest thing to do, and it's good for 3rd and 2. It's good for 3rd and 17. It doesn't matter. Nobody's covering them out of the backfield on these wheel routes and just flat passes. So it's so bad. But you got I said after week 1 that I have confidence in Mike Norvell will make the needed changes. After week 2, I'm like, why aren't you? I mean, it's obvious the changes that need to be made from a scheme and personnel wise. You've got a week to do it. How he's not announced that Brock Glenn is the starting quarterback by now, I don't know. Because that's the only way you save this season. It's the only way.
He has to do it.
Norvell obviously has the advantage of having his starting quarterback concussed, so he has to go to DJ Lagway. And that's a huge deal for the Gators and their fans, because I think it gives them some hope. And and Mike Norvell has to make a tough decision. I don't even think it's tough, to be honest with you.
And here's the thing too, like with Lagway going in. So what, they're playing Samford this week, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if the thing that makes it tough, it's like, okay, so I'm assuming that DJ Lagway, let's assume he's going to light up Samford, right?
Yeah, I would
look really great. You would hope. I mean, Florida State didn't light up Samford, what was it, 6 years ago under Willie Taggart? So anything can happen. But let's assume he does that. It's like, if you're Billy Napier and Graham Mertz, let's say he gets healthy from the concussion, what are you going to be like? Hey, Graham, you're getting your job back, and now you get to go play Texas A&M, or is it DJ? Hey, now you get to go play Texas A&M. Like, it's kind of a difficult thing. Like, what do you do if you're Billy Napier? Because like Graham Mertz, it's like he had a solid year last year, and you thought he was going to be the quarterback this year. He had one bad game where everything was off against Florida. Like, does that warrant him losing everything? But at the same time, if you're Billy Napier, like, your job is on the line. And does it behoove you to see what you have in DJ Lagway at this point?
You have to. You got to sell hope, man. You got to sell hope and get the kid ready to play next year.
Florida's been selling hope for a long time.
And if you're FSU, you got to get Brock Glenn or Luke ready to play next year. You're moving on. And I know they've recruited some quarterbacks moving forward, but you got to go with what you got. And DJU is not your future. As you said, you're not winning anything this year. So what's the point?
No.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
I think Florida State fans would rather go 5-7 with Brock Glenn than in the event that DJ took you to 7-5. Like, I truly believe that.
Of course. Absolutely. And again, for the personnel that's on this team, you can't be any worse than you were with you can't. Like, Brock's not going to be worse. At least he can run, and you need somebody who can run behind this line. They're terrible. And it changes your run game too when you have a quarterback that can RPO and it is a threat to run. DJ's not a threat to run.
And I told you too, the deficiencies in the way they've recruited the wide receiver position. Like, who was making plays the other night? Kentron Poitier. Yeah. Kentron Poitier has been in this program for 5 years, man.
Malik Benson had some moments, but
Benson's had some moments. Ja'Kai, but just none of these. Jaylen Brown's been a non-factor. We haven't seen Hakeem Williams yet. At this point, I don't care where Hakeem Williams is on the depth chart. He needs to play right now.
Well, he would have had a couple of touchdowns if not for the horrible quarterback.
Yeah, the horrible quarterback. Kyle Morlock can't catch a pass. My goodness. I mean, there's just so much there. I think we covered it all with Florida State and their ineptitude.
So let's take a break. I'm going to come back on the other side and get into the rest of the NFL. We got a big game tonight. We'll do some picks for the weekend, go over the games, and hit all those. We are brought to you by the great folks at Cafe Paradiso. My good friend Palatini over there has been up in Saratoga enjoying the horses and ponies. But he's back, and he's ready to serve you guys over at Cafe Paradiso. If you're looking for great traditional Italian food, not this frou-frou stuff that you see all the time. I mean, lasagna, branzini, sea bass. I mean, they have a sausage rigatoni that is unbelievable. It's one of my favorites when you go in there. The chicken parm. Who doesn't love chicken parm? But you got to do it right. The sauce is so good at Cafe Paradiso. That's why they've been voted number 3 top 10 restaurants in all of Tampa Bay on Open Table. Over 3,000 reviews. They were voted number 3. Are you kidding me? The traditional Italian, the prices that aren't crazy, have a wonderful meal. And if you love wine, Paula will pick out a great wine for you as well. They have a great selection. It's Cafe Paradiso right there on South McDill in South Tampa. Tell them JP sent you. All right, back in 3 with some NFL look-aheads. Stay with us. Hey, it's football season, and we welcome back the Gator Report every Monday and Friday, sponsored by the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Just go to the website. You can contact them through there. Scott Jeeves is a tremendous, aggressive attorney and a big Gator fan, so we appreciate him supporting this show and, of course, your Florida Gators. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Whether it's personal injury or anything else, any law matter at all, it's the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. JP here to ask the question, are you planning an event, meeting, or conference? If so, you'll want to call the designers and production professionals at Extravaganza Productions Incorporated. With over 35 years of experience in the events industry, designing and producing every type of small to large event, they can provide a huge resource for design ideas, audio, visual, sound, lighting, decor, and entertainment to turn your event into an incredible experience for the entire audience. Folks, I've worked up close and personal with this group at many national events and Tampa events, and they have unique capabilities that help you save time and money in the planning and execution of your next event. Don't delay. Call these pros today at 813-621-4700 or check out their website at extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you, and they'll provide a free initial consultation for your event. Extravaganza Productions, the best in the business. Golfers, listen up. The hottest new driving range craze has come to Rogers Park in Tampa. The Top Tracer range is now open 10 to 9 p.m. And just like you see on TV, every shot is tracked for yardage and accuracy, giving you immediate feedback. And best of all, you can virtually play the top courses like Pebble Beach or St. Andrews with your buddies. Plus, great food and drink options available in the well-appointed hitting bays. Very comfortable out there. Reservations highly recommended, starting at $25 per hour, including balls. Reserve at RogersParkGolf.net. That's RogersParkGolf.net. See you there.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. And guys, go on over to the Gold and Diamond Source. They got plenty of stuff for you as well. That's not just for the ladies. You can pick out a nice watch. They got a great selection of Rolex and Breitling and all the big different names and watches, not just one brand. They've got them all. They've got some used watches there if you're looking for something a little lower level. You can buy them for investments as well. And, of course, get something for your lady. That's always a good idea. Great idea. But you can get something for yourself, some cufflinks and tie tack. Spice it up a little, guys. Get you a necklace, whatever you like, at the Gold and Diamond Source. They got a great staff there that will show you everything that you want to see in your price range. So have some fun. Treat yourself, guys, to something nice at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmsted Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, you want to get into some of the NFL Week 1 stuff here, my friend?
Let's do it.
All right, well, we're going to start with tonight's action, and it's a big one. The Baltimore Ravens
at the Kansas City Chiefs on NBC Football tonight. The Chiefs are 3-point favorites against the Baltimore Ravens, who I'm going to take on the money line at plus 125 tonight. The big change is obviously Derrick Henry in the backfield, and I just don't know how, as a defense, in linebackers, when you run in with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, his ability to throw in tight spaces, and this Ravens defense, John Harbaugh, I mean, they're just absolutely loaded. And I love Derrick Henry. The addition to him, it just adds someone who can close games for Lamar, where not everything's going to be on his shoulders. And when you got a defense like that and a 2-score lead, you can just run the hell out of Derrick Henry in the third and fourth quarter. I just love what the Ravens will bring to the table. Now, obviously, the Chiefs made some additions with Hollywood Brown, but he won't play tonight because of a shoulder injury. We'll see Xavier Worthy, fastest wide receiver in the draft. And, of course, Travis Kelce will be there as well. Will Taylor be there? No, I don't think so.
It said she will be there.
Oh, she will be there tonight. Okay, well, then that's 7 cutaways in the first half.
Set your TVs.
Take the over. But with all that, Chris Jones coming back. L'Jarius Sneed is gone from the Kansas City defense. I'm going to take the Ravens tonight. What say you, my friend?
I'm going to take the Ravens. I think they're a great regular season team. Lamar's regular season record is fantastic. I think lightning strikes twice like it did last year in the opening game in Kansas City when Detroit beat the Chiefs. I think it happens again because I think there's going to be a tiny little bit of an adjustment period to start for Kansas City offensively with the receiving core because there is some newness in there this year. So give me Baltimore in this one.
Okay. You got Baltimore. All right. Friday night, Green Bay at Philly in Brazil. The Packers come in hot, obviously off their huge win over Dallas in the playoffs. Jordan Love was fantastic at the end of the season. Any team that thinks Devin White can play clearly has no idea what they're doing. I still think the Eagles are in free fall. They got the same quarterback that nobody likes. It's a weird situation, and nobody likes it within the organization for whatever reason. I don't understand, but I'm not there. All I know is Jalen Hurts is gonna struggle again, I think, this year. I got the Packers in this one, and I'm getting 2 points, and I get the better team. What do you like?
I don't think the Packers are the better team. Scared of all the hype that's going on Green Bay this year. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender. I think their roster is actually a little bit overrated for my liking. I think Philadelphia wins this game, and I actually think they do it by 2 scores.
Wow, 2 scores. All right,
scores.
We're definitely differing on this
Bullish
one.
on a Philadelphia bounce back.
Okay. All right. Panthers are at the Saints at 1:00 on Sunday. Little NFC South to get things going.
Do we have our snoring? Can you do a little snoring vid for us, please?
There's just no reason to watch this game except if you're going to bet the Carolina money line, which I might just do.
I really don't care about this game at all.
All right, you want to pick it at all? 4 points. I'll take Carolina in the 4.
Give me the Saints because it's at home, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Dave Canales debut there. Everybody's picking the Saints in this one. Tennessee is at Chicago. Caleb Williams and all his weapons going up against the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are 4-point underdogs in this one. How about that? The Bears are 4-point favorites in their home opener at 1:00. Your thoughts?
Scares me that they're 4-point favorites, but I do think Chicago wins this game. I think Tennessee is much, much improved this year from what they were last year. Brought a lot of big name guys in, like L'Jarius Sneed, Calvin Ridley, and on and on and on.
Tyler Boyd, Tony Pollard.
It's also interesting. I think this stat gets broken this week, but I believe the last 16 quarterbacks to go number 1 all lost in their NFL debut, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I'm picking Caleb Williams to be the guy to break that streak. I think he gets it done, and I think Chicago wins.
Okay. I'm going to go against you on this one as well. I like Tennessee. Brian Callahan making his debut as the head coach there. Will Levis at quarterback, as you mentioned. Calvin Ridley, hopefully back to what Calvin Ridley can be. And Tony Pollard, I think will make it. I think he'll be back this year because he's probably a hell of a lot more healthy. And I'm going with that stat. It's there for a reason, and I'm going to go ahead and go with Tennessee in that one. I'm not a Caleb Williams believer just yet. I think he's going to be By the end of the season, maybe, but he ain't CJ Stroud. He's not going to have a CJ Stroud there. Speaking of which, the Texans are at the Colts at 1 o'clock on CBS. The Texans are 3-point favorites in this one. Anthony Richardson returns. Should be very interesting. I like the Texans all year long. Only 3 points. I think they're a much better roster and a much better team. I'll take the Texans on the road to beat the Colts. Your thoughts?
Give me the Colts.
Give me the Colts.
Give me the Colts. Everybody's excited. This, by the way, this will be Anthony Richardson's. Listen to this stat. This is Anthony Richardson's 18th start since high school, I believe.
Holy crap. That's not a lot of football.
It's not quite Trey Lance level, but it's there.
Not a lot of football.
Not a lot of football played for Anthony Richardson. We barely saw him last year. A lot of people are excited though for that matchup, but give me the Colts because the Texans, and I think the Texans are going to be really good this year, but similar to how Green Bay is being talked up, I think the Colts come out and I think they give them a little dose of reality here.
All right. Okay. Arizona at Buffalo. We're disagreeing on some of these. The Bills are 6.5-point favorites at Highmark Stadium. Kyler Murray now has a great target in Marvin Harrison Jr. I got to believe all that to see it for the hype on Arizona. I know people feel they're going to be a lot better. I got Buffalo. I think they got something to prove. They've lost a lot, but I think some of that stuff needed to go. And I think they can be better for it. So I like the Bills at 6.5. I think it's not enough. I'll take them and lay the points against Arizona.
I think Josh Allen kicks off his MVP winning season right here. I think he's on a mission.
Wow.
Without Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis and all those guys. I think Khalil Shakir. I don't know about him, but I know about Khalil Shakir. And I think he surpasses 100 yards in this game and entrenches himself as the number one. So give me the Bills big over the Cardinals.
All right. We agree there. Another snoozer, so to speak, really. New England at Cincinnati. Joe Burrow is back, but is Jamar Chase back? Will he play? He's on my freaking fantasy team. I'm hoping he's going to play in week 1, but I got to sit him 3 weeks anyway in our silly rules. So he'll probably sit this week. How do you go with New England, even with 8.5 points? I see Cincinnati at home coming out and laying it on really a team that's devoid of any talent at all in the Patriots.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it at Bengals are going to win this football game.
Here's a game I'm interested to watch on Sunday at 1 o'clock, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are 3.5 points favorites in this one. You know, I think the Jags are better than people think. I don't know what the hell happened to them in the end last year. I think probably just more, all the guys they lost, they were so injured in the last half of the season. They got good guys coming off the edge. Trevor Lawrence, I think, is ready to take a step forward, and Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be a star in this league with Gabe Davis. I want to pick the upset. I think the Jags are going to be good. Miami's loaded as well. I think it's for two really, really good teams. I'm going to go ahead and take the 3.5 points in Jacksonville.
Oh, I'm going with Miami. Miami loves winning all their games in September and October until they fold later in the season. This game is at home. I think Ronald Darby is projected to start, if you can believe it, for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the year 2024. I don't like that at all. Yeah, he's still playing. Don't like that at all. I think Tyreek Hill pushes for almost 200 all-purpose yards in this football game.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm picking the Jags. I just got a hunch on the 3.5. I think Dolphins win the game. The Minnesota Vikings, without Kirk Cousins, are at the New York Giants, who unfortunately have Daniel Jones as their quarterback. This is another snoozer of a game. Sam Darnold versus Daniel Jones. Does anybody really pay for this one?
We were semi-interested in this in 2019, were we not?
Yeah, we were. I really don't care, but I'll just, give me some points in Minnesota. That's about all I can say. I can't actually pick the Giants for anything.
Just give me the Giants. Just give me the Giants.
All right. Pittsburgh is at Atlanta at 1 o'clock. This is another really interesting game to watch as Russell Wilson makes his debut. But how much will Justin Fields play? That's interesting to me. Atlanta, obviously, and it's at Atlanta, is the trendy pick, but there's a lot of new there. I'm just going with the points in the Steelers just because I think they'll out physical them. What do you got?
I'm going to go with the Falcons, not because they're at home, because their home field stinks.
True.
But yeah, I'm going to go with the Falcons here. I know I ripped them apart a little bit earlier, but I think this is the year the Steelers, I don't know if they win 8 games like they always tend to do.
You don't believe in Russell Wilson? I think Justin Fields will be the quarterback by week 3. And
I don't believe in either of them,
maybe
to
by
be honest with
halftime.
you. I don't believe in either of them.
Denver's at Seattle in a 4:00 game. The Seattle Seahawks are 6-point favorites at home. I don't know much about these teams. I think it's a whole lot of new, especially in Denver. Again, not. I don't have a whole lot of intel on this one. I'll just take when I don't have a whole lot of intel. I just take the 6 points. So I'll take Denver.
Well, I have great intel on the Seahawks. The Seahawks are going to win 11 football games this year.
Wow.
They're going to challenge for the NFC West division. Nobody's talking about the Seahawks, but I love what they've done in this offseason. I think Geno Smith, he was not the problem last year. I think he bounces back this year. I think they start with a near 3-touchdown victory against the Denver Broncos, who just don't have much talent on their football team.
Raiders are at the Chargers at SoFi at 4:00. The Chargers are 3-point favorites in this one. I don't think there's anything to like about the Raiders. There's a lot to like about the Chargers. Most of all, they have a new head coach, and their last one was an idiot. So I like Jim Harbaugh in his debut against a rudderless Gardner Minshew-led Raiders team.
Give me the Raiders. Give me the Raiders.
Raiders. What? Okay.
I like the Raiders. I mean, I don't like the quarterback position, but I like a lot of other things about the Raiders. I love Antonio Pierce, so give me the Raiders. I don't like the Chargers this year.
I hate rooting for Harbaugh, but in this case, I will. I love the Browns getting a 2.5-point favorite against Dallas. I love the money line on the Browns here to win this one. Dallas, I think, is completely overrated. CeeDee Lamb coming in late, all the drama. They've lost half their secondary. I think Cleveland is so solid defensively. I think they're going to be so much better offensively. Deshaun Watson is definitely a question mark. If he's got his head right, this could be a really, really good football team. I mean, they went to the playoffs with freaking Joe Flacco coming off the couch. Come on. I got Cleveland.
No faith in Deshaun Watson to turn it around, and honestly, it's hard for me to even root for the guy. I think Dak Prescott, without his contract so far, I think he's out to prove something. He's always out to prove something because of the way his owner boxes him like that. But I think the Cowboys win this game. Love the Browns roster, but I think the quarterback difference in the end, I think Dak Prescott is light years ahead of where Deshaun Watson is right now. I think Zeke Elliott runs for 2 touchdowns in this football game.
Shocking pick, prediction for the year. Watson goes down with an injury, and Jameis Winston leads the Cleveland Browns deep into the playoffs.
Wasn't there rumblings that they were going to trade Jameis? Like, they didn't even want him as the backup.
He was available, I guess, but
weird.
Wouldn't that be a great fun story? The Bucs are a 3.5-point favorite now. It's gone up over the Washington Commanders. I love the Bucs in this game. I love them by 2 scores. Unless Jaden Daniels runs wild, which is a possibility. I think the Bucs will handle this in with their new offense. I just love too much about the Bucs. We've talked a lot about it. I got the Bucs.
I got the Bucs 24-16. I think it's going to be a tight one or close.
All right, Sunday night Rams and Lions. Oh, do you have anything else to say? Sorry.
No, I was just saying I think it's going to be a very tight game.
Okay. Oh, really? I like the Bucs to get out ahead in this one. Get the fans rocking. LA is at Detroit. The Rams, a trendy pick for a lot of people to go to the Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford. I love Detroit. I love everything they've done. I love their coach. They're at home against the Rams as Matthew Stafford returns. I'm just going Detroit with this one. I'll lay the points 3.5.
Pains me to go against Matt Stafford because I love Matt Stafford, but their defense, I think, takes a massive step back without Aaron Donald and Raheem Morris and the great linebacker they traded away for no reason whatsoever. So give me Detroit in this one.
Okay. And last but not least, the Jets and the 49ers. Aaron Rodgers returns to the Bay Area. The Jets are a good football team. I'm very interested to see what they look like, even outside of Aaron Rodgers. I think San Francisco takes a step back this year. There's just too much noise going on there. I like Aaron. I'm going to take the Jets in a shocker on Monday night and in the 4 points.
I think this game is a defensive just stand still for a while? I'm going to reverse course. When I did my picks earlier, I had 49ers, but I'm going to go with the Jets in this game. I think they get a big statement win on the road, and it maybe calms down a little bit about the whole Aaron Rodgers stuff.
All right, great job, Nick Geddes. I got to run out a little early to get over to Bucs practice or Bucs interviews and get some stuff for tomorrow, get some content. Take care of some business over there. Thank you guys for watching. We will be back tomorrow with Football Friday with fantasy picks as well. Get your fantasy team ready as well. You got to do that on this Thursday night. And we'll recap the great Chiefs-Ravens game tonight as well. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.